welcome to episode 2 of Retro Reviews, where I play games in my retro collection and review them with my current brain. Today we are reviewing this game right up here, another Sega CD title called Rise of the Dragon. It is the year 2053. The city, Los Angeles. Amid the foul air and dark, dangerous streets, a dragon rises from the ashes of legend. Many fear him, many fall before him. Only one will risk all to destroy him. And that one is you. You. Me. Us. That one is us. Blade Hunter, Private Investigator. So that was the description off of the back of the box. So let's go ahead and move on to everybody's favorite boot up screen.
Go, baby. Have a nice trip.
All right. So I like this game a lot better than the last one that we played. And I have made a long play of it. And it is released the same time as this video. So you can look for that on the channel as well if you're interested. It took about 2 to 2.5 hours to complete. It wasn't a very long game. It was about a span of 3 days in-game time. So when you start the game, you're treated to this opening video of a woman taking some drugs, and it kills her, and she sort of like mutates. And then it switches to the main villain explaining his plan, talking about how he needs to fulfill some prophecy. We all know how prophecies turn out, right?
My destiny will be realized, just as the prophecy foretells. Misery, grief, and doom.
Then we go and the game starts, and we wake up and we're in our apartment. The game is point and click, and it took me a minute to get the inventory under. It took me a minute to realize how the inventory worked. Like, you can click on an item, but you actually have to drag it and drop it in the bottom right on that yellow square to add it to your inventory. You can click on things and it will add it to the bottom of the screen, but it just stays there. It doesn't go in your inventory. So if you put something on the bottom of the screen there and don't drag it to that little icon on the right, you will leave the area and you will not have that item in your inventory. And if it's something that you need, you can't progress unless you go all the way back. So that kind of threw me off a little bit. But in our apartment, we have this video phone, and this is sort of like your main source of information about like what's happening in the game and your next task, right? This is the map for the game. It sort of tells us what areas we can go to. Some of them we don't actually have to go to ever, which is kind of weird. But in this case, we have to go to the Pleasure Dome to investigate the mayor's daughter's death and look for someone named the Jake. But also on our little video phone, the girlfriend is really mad at us, so we have to go talk to her too and pick up our keys. It's pretty cool. The game has a few like branching and dialogue options that you can do that can change the outcome of the story, so that's pretty neat. We'll go talk to our girlfriend and give her some flowers and smooth things over.
They're lovely, Blade, but you still owe me a night on the town.
There's also this weird
Hi, Blade.
hidden
Wanna play house?
mechanic, I guess, where if you talk to someone or flirt with someone, Karen can bust you for cheating. But it's weird. It's not really talked about, but it's something that can happen. The next place we go is the Pleasure Dome. This place is full of colorful characters. So we can go through and talk to them and kind of get information and figure out which person is the Jake, so we can start our investigation for the mayor. Talking to these people are pretty fun. They're kind of silly, a little over the top.
Hear what I have to say.
After we talk to all those people, we get enough information to figure out who the Jake is. And we find him, and he's like, hey, come into my booth. Then we talk, and he doesn't believe us at first that his friend is dead, so we have to give him the picture that the mayor gave us. And then he sort of starts talking, and he gives us a little bit of information, right? So one thing, though, too, is there are things that you can do in this game that require you to, like, that will lock you, will soft lock you. Like, if you don't choose to be nice to this Jake person, he'll just not talk to you, and you can't progress. Like, that's something that I ran into. So I had to reload and figure out how to not be such a jerk, which is kind of funny. So you go to the address that the Jake gave you, and you are too late, and you experience this. Possibly the death, the best death seen in the game. Once you endure that horrible death scene, you do what all good cops do. You steal his stuff. In the name of evidence, of course.
Hey, beautiful. You ready to hit the town?
I'm impressed, Blade. You're even on time.
In every other
A
version of
toast.
this game,
To us.
when you go on this date,
To us.
they smooch. But that was too sexy for the Sega CD, so we had to cut that out. So after our date, where we consummate with Karen about how good of a police officer we are, we go back to the Jake and tell him that we watched a man die a horrible, painful death. And then he's happy about it. And this is pretty interesting. You have a part here where you can give him one of the items that you gathered as evidence from the apartment, and then it opens up an additional, like, secret part of the game later on. So we did that. we gave him this
Sure. What you got?
evidence that we found in the dead man's safe that was hidden behind a statue.
Chocolate. Where'd you get this? Don't mind if I hang on to this, dude.
And he is very thankful.
Anything else?
So you take all of the stuff that you found back to Karen, and she can go in and look it up. And she finds that this drug that you found in that other guy's apartment, she analyzed it, and this is what it does to your cells. It attacks them and kills them and mutates them, and then you turn into a monster and die. Karen is also a hacker, so she looks up this other information for you for the associates of your adversary.
Take a look at, Blade? This is very unusual. There's a sleeper gate attached to this file. If anyone tries to access the information contained inside the file, it will set off an alarm and wipe the system. I can try to bypass it, but if that doesn't work, we could be in a very unhealthy situation.
Hackers penetrate and ravage.
If you say so, Blade.
And then you have to take everything that you found and you have to go talk to the mayor, who is very appreciative of what you have found out in the investigation and the death of his daughter. Obviously.
William Hunter.
After you're done talking to the very ungrateful mayor, you go back to your apartment and you have a message saying that Karen has been kidnapped.
Been a friend.
So now we have another objective that we have to tend to. I just want to point out that there's a funny little thing for them. If you go back to Karen's office and try to talk to her, there's one of the little henchmen who's like filled her spot to keep up appearances. I think it's very funny.
Sorry, my mistake. I'd better watch myself or they'll start calling me Switchblade.
Also, with Karen being kidnapped, we get a video phone call from the Jake, who tells us to meet him at the warehouse this evening. And this is that optional part of the game that I mentioned earlier. We can only unlock this phone call from giving the Jake the chocolate, right? Or if we give him the chocolate or tell him to call us, which are both different dialogue options, then this will happen. But they are, they can be missed. But once you meet him at the warehouse, you realize that he has also been kidnapped. Jeez. And you have to fight your way to him and save the Jake. This is the first section that is like this, and it kind of took me by surprise, and it kind of took a few minutes to kind of get the bearings on how it worked, because the jumping is crazy silly. But this is what they call the arcade section. We realize that Karen is still kidnapped, so we go to save her, and then the big bad guy turns into the big bad dragon.
Here comes a new challenger!
Big bad guy turns into a big bad dragon, and we go through another arcade section, and we shoot him in the face until he's dead. Once he's dead, we run over and double tap just to make sure. And then we are the king. And
Your body riddled with bullets. You collapse on the cold, wet Syntho pavement. Oh, through the dimming vision, you see Rocky and Bullwinkle approaching you. Bullwinkle gives you a vicious kick to the head. Oh, man, he must have steel tips in those big shoes. No, wait a minute. It's not Bullwinkle. It's one of the goons. No, you must be hallucinating. As the world fades to black, you think, I should have just gone to Wally World.